Banking system. The structure and organization of commercial banks differ from one country to another according to the nature of the economic, political, social, and geographical conditions of each country. Thus, the well-known systems of banking prevalent in the different parts of the world can be branch banking, unit banking, chain banking, and group banking. Now we will see branch banking system. According to Banking Regulation Act 1949, bank means accepting for the purpose of investments of deposits of money withdrawal from public and which are repayable by demand of order or otherwise. Now, unit banking. In this system, the bank operations are generally confined to a single office only. According to Shapiro, Solomon, and White, or independent unit bank, a corporation that operates one office and that is not related to other bank, either by ownership or control. Now, next bank. Chain banking. Chain banking is an arrangement by which an individual, group of individuals, or the members of a family control the operations of two or more banks by either holding majority shares or interlocking directorship. Each bank retains its identity, capital, and personnel. Now, fourth bank. Group banking. Ownership or control of two or more banks by an individual group of individuals or corporation is called group banking. Group banking is also known as holding company banking. Now we will see the advantages of branch banking. Large scale operations. What is large scale operations? A big bank processing huge financial resources and having a number of branches can enjoy certain advantages of large scale operations. Its huge financial resources enable it to recruit skilled, qualified, and experienced personnel to carry on its banking activities. Further, it comes to acquire greater public confidence and account of its standing among the people. Next, number 2, geographical spreading of risk. The spreading of risk geographically is another important advantage of the branch banking system. Since there is diversification of risk under branch banking, there is no danger of failure to the bank concerned. Number 3, facilities regarding transfer of funds. Since the branches of the bank are spread all over the country, it is easier and cheaper for it to transfer funds from one place to another. Number 4, economy in cash reserves. A huge bank with a number of branches can afford to manage with a lower cash reserve ratio. The reason is that the requirements of any one branch for extra cash can be easily met by transferring cash from some other branch which happens to have excessive cash reserve. Last one, proper use of capital. If a branch of the bank happens to have plenty of deposits but no opportunities for investment, it can transfer its surplus funds to other branches which can make a profitable use of such funds for trade and industry. Now we will look after disadvantages of branch banking. First one, difficulties of management, supervision and control. Since there are hundreds of branches of a bank under this system, this leads to a number of difficulties in the management, supervision of control of banking activities. The management of the bank gets concentrated at the head office. Number 2, lack of initiative. No branch of the bank can take decision on important problems without consulting the head office. This makes the banking system rigid and nihilistic in its functioning. Number 3, possibility of monopoly. Under branch banking, there is always a possibility of the emergence of monopoly in banking. The reason is that the activities of all the branches are controlled by a handful high bank official who dominate the entire working of the bank. Last one, unnecessary competition. Under this system, the branches of different banks get concentrated at certain places, particularly in a big cities and towns in the country. Now next, duplication of banking facilities. There is unnecessary duplication of banking facilities when the branches of different banks are opened at the same place. Last one, continuance of non-profitable branches. Under branch banking, weak and non-profitable branches continue to be fed by the stronger and profitable branches of the bank. Now, we will look after the merits of unit banking. Local development. Unit banking is localized banking. Unit banking has specialized knowledge of local problems and serves the requirements of local place. Number 2. Promote regional balance. Under unit banking system, there is no transfer of resources from rural and backward areas to the big industrial commercial centers. Number 3. Easy management. The management and supervision of unit bank is much easier and more effective than under branch banking system. Our next one, initiative banking system. Unit banks have full knowledge of and greater involvement in local problems. They are in a position to take initiative to tackle these problems through financial help. Now next, no monopolistic tendency. In unit bankings, they are in small size. There is no possibility of generating monopolistic tendency. Next one, the inefficient branches. Under unit banking system, weak and inefficient branches are automatically eliminated. No protection is provided to such type of banks. Last one, large scale of operations. Now next, demerits of unit bankings are disadvantages of unit banking. No distribution of risks. Under unit banking, the bank operations are highly localized. Therefore, there is a little possibility of distribution and diversification of risk in various areas and industries. Next, inability to face crisis. Limited resource of unit banks restrict their ability to face financial crisis. No banking development of backward area. Unit bankings, because of their limited resources, cannot afford to open an economic banking business in smaller towns and rural areas. Now fourth one, lack of specialization. Unit bank, because of their small size, is unable to introduce and get advantages of division of labor and specialization. And the fifth one is costly remittance of funds. A unit bank has no branches at other places. As a result, it has to depend upon correspondent banks for transfer of funds that is very expensive. And next one, disparity in interest rate. Easy and cheap movement of funds does not exist under unit banking system. Interest rates differ in different places. Last one, local pressure. Unit banks are highly localized in business local pressures and interference generally disturb their normal function. Next one, we will see the overview of banking. Overview of banking. First one, evolution of banking. Banking in its root form is as old as civilization. The origin of commercial banking can traceable to the early times of human history. Practice of lending was widely prevalent in ancient Greece and Rome periods. Today's banking has developed in Europe, particularly in Italy. Indeed, the word bank is derived from the Italian word banco, which was the name given to a monkey exchanger counter, on which he displayed his money coins. In England, banking had its origin with the London goldsmiths who in the 17th century began to accept deposits from merchants and other for safekeeping of money and other valuables. According to the Crowther, modern banking has three ancestors: the merchant, goldsmith, and the moneylender. Now, innovative functions of banking. Social banking, participative approach, consortium approach, credit cards, new technology, and consolidation phase. Social banking. After nationalization, the commercial banks have adopted a new policy orientation to meet the socio-economic obligations of the country. The following shifts in banking policy can be noted in this regard: urban to rural orientation, profit motive to mass banking, class banking, big customers to small customers. Now next one, Participative approach. In 1970, the RBI introduced participation certificates with the objective of greater mobilization of funds, less resource to the RBI, and diversifying the availabilities of finance instruments. Now next, consortium approach. RBI has introduced consortium approach to lending in the year 1974. And credit cards. Commercial banks have introduced credit cards facilities in the early 1980s. From then, the facility has become popular among the public as well as banks. Features of credit cards. It acts as a medium of exchange, helps to buy whenever the cardholder likes to buy, and can pay whenever he likes. The cardholder has to pay an initial annual deposit. ATM cards, charge cards, phone cards, prepaid cards, mobile SIM cards, smart cards are latest in this regard. New technology. To provide efficient and quick service to customers, the banks are fastly introducing modernization, computerization, and new techniques in this operation. Consolidation phase. Consolidations with moderate and selective expansion are the key words in banking operations. Apart from social functions, the banks are now paying attention for improvement of financial viability, better customer service, adequate profitability. And next, other innovations. Merchant banking. To underwrite the issue of companies, the commercial banks are setting up merchant banking divisions. And at the end of 1991, 8 commercial banks have started their equipment leasing and merchant banking subsidiaries. And next, mutual funds. Till 1986, UTI had a monopoly of mutual funds business in India. Now in the banking sector, mutual funds have been set up mainly by the merchant banking subsidiaries of some public sector banks such as the State Bank of India. Hire purchase credits. After nationalization, the commercial banks are also providing hire purchase of vehicles and spare parts. Now the last one, factoring service. Factoring service implies the advance payment of credit by the bank to the customer. It is to be collected later on from the debitor. After nationalization, the first factoring service has been started by the State Bank of India, namely the SBI Commercial and Factoring Services Limited. Now, we will see some nationalized banks in 19th July 1869. Some of the banks are nationalized in 19th July 1969. Central Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, United Commercial Bank, United Bank, Union Bank, Syndicate Bank, Indicate Bank, and Bank of India. Some more banks are nationalized in the same year. Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Dena Bank, Allahabad Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of Maharashtra. These are the nationalized banks in 1869. Some more banks are nationalized in the next year, 1980, in the month of April. Here, Andhra Bank, Corporation Bank, Vijaya Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank, Orientation Bank of Commerce, New of India. Now we will see the slides from first. First one, banking system, merits and demerits of unit banking, advantages of branch banking, disadvantages of branch banking, merits of units banking, and demerits of units banking. And the overview of banking in this we saw the merchants, the goldsmiths, and the money lenders. And we also discussed some of bankings and innovations. Again, we are discussing about innovative functions of banking. Social banking, participative approach, consortium approach, credit cards, new technology, consolidation phase. Now we will see about nationalized banks. In 1969, in the month of July, the nationalized banks are Central Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, United Commercial Bank, United Bank, Union Bank, Syndicate Bank, Indian Bank, Bank of India. Some more banks in the same year: Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Dina Bank, Allahabad Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of Maharashtra. After some more years, in the year of 1980 and in the month of April, these are the banks also nationalized: Andhra Bank, Corporation Bank, Vijaya Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank, Orientation Bank of Commerce, Bank of India. Thank you.